Justice, episode 13. Some backwards words I can't pronounce. It's your boy Icon with some DC TV. And this is the extended arc, which is the Zatanna arc, because out of all the previous arcs, we've gotten 4 episodes. The Zatanna arc gets 5 episodes. And it was very cool that they did get 5 episodes based on everything that happened towards the end. So the episode starts where the last one ended, where Clarion had ran up on him because he finally found them, because he hijacked that school bus full of kids 10 years ago, and he was dragging them through like space and time and blah, blah, blah. So he finds them, and then he's just like, oh, we got to team up. And then Dr. Fate is like, no, we will not team up with the witch boy. But then, Zatanna talked him into it, and he was like, fine. And so he ends up talking him into it. Clarion, he had to go get himself a new cat because he couldn't exist. He could exist by using the bus, but he ain't want to use the bus. So they go to like an animal sanctuary. He finds a new cat, gives the cat the exact same name that he gave his old cat. And a lot of replacements have been happening in this season so far, because we got the new bio ship for no reason, and now Clarion gets a new cat for no reason. It's just like, did you really have to kill the first cat? It's like, did the original bio ship need to go? But they seem to be like reshuffling the deck and replacing certain things. So everybody's teamed up now. He got his cat, he has his mortal body, and now they're all together gonna go fight Child. It's obviously not going very well. Child's whooping everybody's ass. And then there's even a moment where Mary, of all people, she's using her Shazam powers, to try to destroy the anchor that was holding Child here. And she realized she needed more power. So for some reason, she can absorb power from other things, like living things, people, plants, animals, whatever. She starts absorbing power from the earth itself. And while she was taking power from the earth, it incidentally started draining the life forces of her friends and of animals and plants and everything. She was literally drawing power from everybody and using it, to try to stop the anchor that was keeping Child here. So of course that didn't hold. She basically absorbed all that power for nothing. And then, Zatanna, said she's doing her thing. Dr. Fate's doing his thing. Everybody doing their thing. Now, the unsung hero in this whole thing is Vandal Savage, because the stranger had taken Vandal Savage to speak to the Lords of Order and the Lords of Chaos. It's, it's time for Vandal Savage to speak to the Lords and face the music for what he did. Vandal Savage even said, he was just like, listen, he said, I've had a partnership with the Witch Boy for years now, for decades and eons, and Dr. Fate is my son. He was like, if anything, I am the balance, between order and chaos, because, I'm playing both sides of the fence here, and I have a direct tie into both places. He said, but what this girl's doing, he was like, this is not even balance. It's just chaos for the sake of chaos. So he asked the council, he was like, can you please relinquish your power and send this girl back to where she came from, and let the true order of balance in this entire thing, which is Vandal Savage, let me continue to do what I do. So then the Lords of Chaos said, they were just like, okay, fine, we'll stop powering her up, but we're not going to send her back, because we'll let this thing play out the way it's going to play out. And then the Lords of Order, they agreed, along with the Lords of Chaos, they all agreed that they will let Vandal Savage continue to do what he do. And as long as they can stop Child, they said the balance will be restored and we can all go back to normal. So they remove the power from her. She ends up getting weaker, but she still had some reserve energy left over. She stabbed Clarion in the chest. She's fighting everybody. And then at the end, they were actually able to defeat her, because 13 ended up using her ability, because there was a moment. One thing that Mary did do is she did manage to crack the anchor that was keeping Child here. And because she ended up doing the crack, 13 used her power, because her power is based on bad luck. She used her bad luck power to make the crack bigger and make the crack spread throughout the body of the anchor. It shattered her anchor into 50 million pieces. And then once her anchor was broken, she lost her hold on the mortal plane. And as soon as she lost, then the Lords of Chaos took her back, and now she went back to where she came from. Clarion dipped, and and then now the world is saved, and everybody can begin to start putting things back to normal the way they should be. But this sparked new conversation. Zatanna ended up having a conversation with her students, and then she ended up having a conversation with Dr. Fate. And then she said, her plan was that once a week, each member, her and her students, each one of them, along with her dad, would take turns once a week donning the helmet of fate. This way it keeps Fate's body fresh, because they were talking in the last episode about how Giovanni, his body can't hold out forever. So they were saying that this way the body stays fresh, it's different magic, like a different sort of, like spell, that Dr. Fate gets to work with, different personality, different people, different, bringing different things to the table. But then also at the same time, that person also gets, to have a normal life too, 3 weeks out of a month. Dr. Fate asked, he was just like, well, why not Mary? Because Zatanna said that Mary couldn't do it. Because the problem with Mary was she said that Mary's still power hungry. Even during the battle, she ended up absorbing power from the earth itself, sucking up the life force from the earth itself. And then she said that Nabu, Dr. Fate, he's already like that. So if we put you with him 1 week out of the year, like 1 week out of a month, it's not gonna make the situation any better, because whenever Nabu gets into this whole thing of use the ultimate power to destroy the world, we need somebody to reel his ass back in. And she said, you and him are too similar. You're not going to reel him in. So she was just like, I need to work with you a little bit more before we allow you to do it. For some reason, she was extremely offended because Mary's addicted to power. And then she was just like, oh, the other two, they get a reward. And then she was like, bitch, this ain't a reward. She was like, it's not a reward. She's like, it's a curse, but you're not ready to take on this burden. And then she got mad and she was like, send me home. And then they sent her home. But then Khalid, he pulled Zatanna to the side, and then he was just like, yo, I need you to be straight up with me. The reason why his mama white is because she's related to Kent Nelson, and Kent Nelson is Khalid's uncle. So that was actually a pretty decent tie-in. But he said that, he was like, I'll don the helmet of fate because, my uncle Kent meant everything to me. He said, I know you'll don the helmet of fate because, you want to release your dad from the burden. He was like, but 13, she ain't got nothing to do with this. And he said, I need you to tell me straight up, did you orchestrate this whole thing of bringing in proteges for the simple purpose of just liberating your dad from the helmet of fate? Because he's like, I just need to know, because that's kind of jacked up, because you bringing in people that actually don't need to be a part of this. You could have just kept it me and you, but he's like, the fact that you brought them in, he was like, now your choices of bringing in proteges is a little suspect. And then she blew him off. She went and asked 13. She told her, she was like, listen, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. 13 said that she would do it. And then, after she said she would do it, then Zatanna was just like, all right, there it is. And then they all decided to do it. She never got the answer. No, Khalid never got the answer that he wanted. Khalid was the first person to put the helmet on, and then after he put the helmet on, they went and returned all the kids, back to their time. They returned the school bus back to season 1, and then everybody went off. And then before they left, Zatanna touched the bus because she said she wanted to see everything that they went through for those 2-3 hours. And when she saw everything, as they were traveling through the time and space, she saw Connor's spirit. And I told y'all Connor wasn't dead. She saw Connor's spirit, and then she was just like, yo, Connor's not dead. His spirit's not at rest. He needs help, and we need to save him. And then that's pretty much how the episode ended there. We did get a cool scene where we saw Black Canary. She was talking to Giovanni because she said that 10 years ago, the school bus and all the kids on it came for counseling, based on the traumatic experience. And then Giovanni started crying. And, he started crying because he was just happy to be home. So that was actually very nice to see. And then finally, we got an end-to-end scene where Mary was home in Fawcett City and she was crying. And I'm like, where's Billy and where's the rest of the Shazam family? But Mary was crying because she felt rejected. But there was a voice talking to her, telling her oh, they don't trust you. They don't believe in you. They don't believe in your power, what you could do. And I'm like, obviously you would think that was her Shazam. But because of the accent, I was like, is that Madame Xanadu talking to her? And I swear to Christ, it sounded like Madame Xanadu because I don't see Mary Shazam talking with that accent. And then she was just like, go ahead, child, And then she was talking kind of like a little old lady. I'm like, her Shazam wouldn't be like a little old lady. But she was like, oh, go ahead, child. She was like, oh, show them who you really are. Say the words. You want to say the words. And then she was like, Shazam. And then that's how it ended. So we got some problems here. Because Mary's about to be on a power trip. And I feel like we're going to get a 4-episode arc based on the Shazam family with Mary being the villain. Connor's not dead yet, so there's going to be some... we're not done with the magical mumbo-jumbo as of yet. We still have a Nightwing story arc to go through. We still have an Aqualad story arc, and we still have a Rocket story arc to go through. Beast Boy and Perdita basically broke up. Beast Boy's on the drugs. I still don't care. I'm still waiting for something to happen for me to care. And I guess in the next arc, you know, Miss Martian should be back, and then she's going to end up dealing with Gar, who's on the drugs, and it's going to be this whole big thing. But that was it, and thank you for tuning in. Share your thoughts below on this arc of Young Justice. Out of all the arcs, like, which one do you like so far? I mean, I'm going to reserve judgment until the season's over based on which arc was my favorite arc, because, like I said, Aqualad, Nightwing, and Rocket are my 3 favorite characters from the original group of 8. So until I see those 3 arcs, I'm not making any assumptions. But let me know what you think about the Magic art. I thought it was really good. I thought it was done really good, and it left us with a lot of good cliffhangers and good storytelling going forward, and like certain questions and all of the above. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, share your thoughts on YouTube, and we will continue to roll for Young Justice, because right now it's the only thing we're reviewing on my channel. So thanks for tuning in, guys. So until next week, as we review the next arc of mystical magic and chaos, take care. And for the final time for the Magic Saga, I'm out this